Welcome to Island of Hawaii on the ThinkTech Live Streaming Network series. I'm broadcasting from our downtown studios at Pioneer Plaza at the core of downtown Honolulu. I'm your host, Carroll Cox. Joining me in the studios is Mr. Don Burns and Mr. Andy Schwenke, boat owners and operators on the island of Maui. Today we're going to be talking with Mr. Burns and Mr. Schwenke. Remember that our shows are streamed live on the internet from 12 noon to 5 p.m. Every weekday, and the earliest shows are streamed all night long. All our shows are streamed on livestream.com. If you want to link to our live streams or previous broadcasts, which are available on youtube.com, or if you want to subscribe to our programs or get on our mailing list and get our program advisors, go to thinktechhawaii.com. If you want to pose a question or comment during one of our shows, please tweet us at ThinkTech High.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got a little volume down. Apologize for that. Okay, today again, my guest is Mr. Schwenke and Mr. Don Burns. Now, the discussion that we're going to have, and I've invited them to join me, is regarding the conditions, as they describe, unsafe conditions on the island of Maui at various boat harbors, especially Kihei. So we're going to get right to it and listen in to what they have to tell us and describe some of the conditions they're on. Gentlemen, thank you. And on the left there, which is Don, if you could introduce yourselves real quick and let us know what's going on there on Maui.
Yes, my name's Don Burns. I'm one of the commercial boat operators out of the Kihei boat ramp. I've been running out of here for a little over 35 years, the Kihei boat ramp, and another 5 to 8 years offshore when that was legal. Our concerns are the safety of our passengers and visitors who use the boat ramp every day. The visitors don't only use it as a boat launching facility, they use it as a walkthrough, a trail that goes up and down the shoreline here, and lots of them have tripped, fallen down, skinned their knees, elbows, broken fingers. That's a minor concern, but still it just puts a real damper on the safety of the Kihei boat ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Our major concern is that the state has overlooked the Kihei boat ramp for about 5 years. And by overlooking, I mean, we had a bathroom down here, which you don't know about, but that was shut down for over a year. And there was no facilities for bathrooms down here because of the state. They said we have to get a licensed plumber. That didn't work. Then they said we had to get a contractor. That didn't work. And then parts. So well over a year, we were out of a bathroom down here, both men and women aside. That's one concern. The other concern is the safety of launching boats. Andy, you launch.
And Carol, I gotta correct you on something you said a minute ago. Lahaina Harbor, Mala Wharf, and Kahului Harbor have all been improved a couple of times since Kihei was done last. We had 0 improvements at the Kihei boat ramp. They actually built us a bathroom 10 years ago. That bathroom was shut down for a year while we were waiting for parts to come in. So, those guys, they've got their harbor improvements. We just want ours too.
Mm-hmm. Well, clearly, we look at many of the islands here. On Kauai, for example, there's Keikaha and those areas. In some of the areas,
Carol, we're losing your audio.
And we're losing a bit of audio here. But Keikaha and here on Oahu.
Hey, Carol, if you can hear us, just give us a wave. Okay.
So,
you want us to just keep going?
Yeah, on Oahu here, we have major problems with the boat ramps and the care and what have you at Sand Island and what have you. Now, on the island of Maui, this is a pretty much high-use area compared to other places in the state, correct? And then safety is a major concern. So what are some of the concerns that you have? For example, lights. And they're losing audio, as they say.
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, we're not picking up your audio. We get the video just fine, but the audio is not coming through.
Well, if you would, go ahead and share with us some of the concerns until we work this out. I'll give you a wave. Just go ahead and share with us the details of what you have concerns with.
You want us to give you some of the concerns?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's some of the things we'd like. Well, the concerns we have are the potholes that we have. We've seen numerous axles busted down here. One of the state guys himself actually broke a toe a few years ago from falling here. The sand has not been dredged in over 10 years. It's to the point now where commercial boats cannot use one of the docks down here. The gentleman in charge, his first name is Paul, they said that there's not money for it, that we should be writing letters to Roz Baker to let her know. I don't think we should be doing Paul's job for him. I think Paul should come on down to the Kihei boat ramp and address these concerns. We've had a couple of community meetings. The first one he didn't show up at. He sent his secretary down to. The second one we got to, everything was laid out. And they told us they had a schedule done. They were going to work with us. They're going to pay part of it, part of the lot one, and then allow us to use the other side and vice versa, so we wouldn't have to shut down. But dredging the harbor was not even addressed. They said there wasn't any money for such a thing. So we were told over and over again that this would be paved. They gave us a date to start. They gave us a date to finish. Well, halfway through those 2 dates, nothing was being done down there. There's no equipment or anything. We went and talked to Paul. Paul said, and I quote, that the work will be done or the contractor will be fined for each day until the job is complete. We waited and waited and waited. The end date came and went. Paul then said that the contractor canceled the contract because he said he couldn't get the right equipment here. Now, the problem that we have with that is he lied to us, because if the work was supposed to be done, nobody's getting fined. But Paul also told us that if the money wasn't used by a certain date, and we don't have that date, unfortunately, that we would actually lose the money and would have to go into next year's budget. So we're pretty sure the date is gone for the state budget at this point, which means that it's going to sit like this for another year or two.
Well, I want to read a list of complaints, problems that others have identified on the island of Maui, for example. Let me give you a few examples. Kihei Small Boat Harbor, only the far right side, north end, is usable for most of the larger commercial recreational boats due to slippery gravel surface of the left side. Also, the right side is deep enough, not affected by the seasonal sand buildup. In Maui Harbor, only single launch ramp and haul out, ADA compliant walkways and railings that leads to a dangerous, unstable finger pier 36 inches from the platform. Then they list another one, Kihei ramp. Sand builds up, makes launching recovering boats difficult. And then Kihei wash rack made from asphalt material with large potholes that not only damage trailer axles but create hazard conditions to any foot traffic. Malaya unstable finger pier fronting ADA walkway. Then Kihei ramp runoff from wash rack. Photos show that we have algae growing, making the surface slippery for people and vehicles launching. Many of us, include myself, have experienced the fear of our trucks, boats, and trailers skid backwards down into the ramp, into the salt water due to the lack of surface traction. Luckily, nobody was standing or transiting below, an accident waiting to happen. This is a repeated conditions throughout the state, but it seems that Kihei is really find itself problematic. And so what happens is that, imagine one description was that the lights were out. Navigation lights within the harbor were out for some 2 months. Now imagine trying to safely, and we're talking about an exposure now. What's different here is that not only just single boaters, but this is commercial. So you have your whale watching, you have your just your regular dolphin watcher, you have your divers and whatever transiting that area, and some sightseeing. So this is a substantial use. And there are instances of where there are poles stuck in the water, sticking out and rusted, and leading only to a hazard, and that becomes a problem. So, gentlemen, you're back there. You want to add in anything?
Well, just I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head right now. And when they redid Maui Harbor, they made some great harbor improvements there. It's beautiful there. Unfortunately, they took away a lot of the trailer boat parking up that way. And when you take that away, when boats launch for the day to do day trips, they need to park someplace and their vehicles. And when they redid Maui Harbor, by taking away parking spaces there, it only added to our traffic here in Kihei. And unfortunately, with the more traffic that's down here, the more ramps, the more these ramps need to be used. And with us only being able to use one side, it makes it difficult for everybody. Tensions have risen down here on a couple of days because boats have to come, boats have to go, and unfortunately, we can only use one side. But between that and what's happening up here in the parking lot, it's to the point now where if it's keep going the way it is, we're not going to be able to use either dock in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And Don, this isn't a situation where you're just complaining about it. This is people's lives at stake here in a sense, right? Because you're hauling passengers, and you as a captain have a responsibility to pick them up safely and return them safely, or you're liable, and you don't want to get anyone hurt. How do you manage to go daily and run a business with this condition?
Well, we do it very carefully. One of the major concerns is our passengers being able to step safely from the dock, from the state dock, to our boat. Now, on some of the pictures I showed you, the dock is in misrepair. It's broken down. There's chunks of cement making out of it. It's very, very wobbly for a person to walk on that's not used to walking around water and piers. One of our other captains, unfortunately, can't be with us today, but out of his own time and good heart, he went out and nailed down non-skid abrasive pads over the dock that we normally use, out of his own kindness of his heart. Andy and I, we've loaded buckets and buckets of gravel trying to fill the potholes so that people don't slip and fall. And it is really a safety issue also. Not only we're complaining because of the inconvenience that it causes us, but I think almost all one of us has had an injury from people walking down the ramp. In fact, in our briefing in the morning, we asked the people to turn off their cell phones so they can watch where they're walking. Our ramp is almost at a 45-degree angle, believe it or not, and it's very slippery and it's very worn out. And people slip and they hurt themselves. I have lost passengers because they've had to go to the doctor.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that some of the pictures were flashing up, and I appreciate you sharing them with ThinkTech, and as you say, we can use them. I appreciate you doing that because we wouldn't really get an idea, but look at the grade of the first picture there, and that's an eye-opener if you know anything about boating. A wet surface and a heavy boat at the end of a truck can serve as actually pull it like gravity in a sense toward the water. And if you could, Don and Andy, can you tell us who is the actual owner of these harbors that you're talking about? Is it the state? Is it the county? Is it private harbors? And what agencies are you dealing with?
When something good happens out the Kihei boat ramp, the county of Maui they'll pat themselves on the back. But when our bathrooms went into disrepair, the county stepped away from it. It's the state of Hawaii that controls the small boat harbor, Maui Harbor, Lahaina Harbor. It's the state that does this.
Mm-hmm. So now that means you come under the division of boating in Kihei, correct?
Correct.
And you have a director there, or not a director? What would it be? A supervisor for the island in total?
Paul. His last name is
Is
Sangano.
it Paul Cinsano?
Paul Sangano, from what I understand, is the gentleman's name. Um, we've seen him. I've seen him once outside of his office when we tried to have a community meeting. But he doesn't visit the Kihei boat ramp often. Let's just say that in 23 years working out the Kihei boat ramp, I've seen him here once.
He worked over in Honolulu before here, and then he was transferred to one of the outer islands.
So what are some of the basic things that you're looking for? I don't want to be repetitive, but apparently for a number of years now, it really hadn't gotten across to the state agency that you've been dealing with, the Department of Boating. How about Underwood? Has Ed Underwood, has it risen to his level of speaking to these issues?
Well, I would hope so, because the people we're speaking to now, nothing's being done. You had asked that some of the issues we hope to have done. First and foremost, the condition of our parking lot is horrendous. People falling in the parking lot should be addressed immediately. It needs to be repaved. Second, the dredging of the harbor. If it does not get dredged, with the way the prevailing trade winds blow, and when we get swells that come in, our harbor catches sand. It's just the way it is, and it's very poorly designed. We're not asking for a redesign. We just need it to be dredged before it gets to the point where we get a couple more big swells that come in here and push sand in. We're not going to be able to operate out of the Kihei boat ramp, and the state's going to make it seem like we didn't say anything about it. We have been chirping about this now for 5 years, and absolutely nothing's getting done about it. I had sent you a picture earlier today of Don and I actually shoveling gravel into a pothole in 2014. Here we are 3 years later, we still have the same potholes down here. It's to the point where we have to put gravel on top of the gravel where concrete should have been 3 years ago, and it's just getting really bad here.
Now we have better audio now, and so if I seem to be repetitive.
We contact him periodically, so he does know.
Okay. Don and Andy, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back here shortly. I'm Carroll Cox. This is Eyes on Hawaii, ThinkTech Live streaming network series. We're talking with Mr. Don Burns and Mr. Andy Schwenke, safety and operational concerns at the state boat harbors owned and managed by the Department of Land and Natural Resources, a division of boating and recreation on the island of Maui. We'll be back in a minute, so stay tuned for more on this story.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress.
A mom. We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good.
Others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty, something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not.
It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
We're talking with Mr. Don Burns about safety and operations and concerns of the state boat harbors owned and managed by the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Boating and Recreation on the island of Maui. Also joining us is Mr. Andy Schwenke. And so, Andy and Don, I understand that there was a situation where there was the lights went out in the harbor. Can you tell us about that? And is there any truth to that? And they were out for some extended period of time, supposedly.
So we have 3 lights that are down here at the Kihei boat ramp. There's one light right here in front of us that's used as a navigation light, but it also, there's 3 lights on the post. One's a navigation light and 2 are to light up the area. There's 1 light near the washdowns, and there's 1 light out near the parking lot. And all of my time down at the Kihei boat ramp, never once have all 3 worked at the same time. This navigation light was out for months at a time. The one by the washdown was out for months at a time. They never work. They're never on at the same time. There's something wrong with the wiring. They just don't. They're not all on at the same time.
How
And
critical are these lights?
For a period of time, they were out completely. There were no lights out down there at all.
And how critical are these lights to your business and safety concerns? Or is it just the light in the area, or you really use them in navigating and returning to the harbor?
Well, when I come in here, when we do night dives, we need this one light here in particular to let us know where the Kihei boat ramp is. But during the wintertime, when the sun's come up a little later, we do our check-ins before the sun comes up. With the condition of the Kihei boat ramp, without lights, we tell people to use their phones to light their way down the boat ramp so they can see where they're stepping because of the potholes and everything like that. So the lights are absolutely critical for people walking around up here in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. But how about the navigation lights in the harbors for boaters to use? Has there been a problem with that?
Yes. We get here late enough now, though, unfortunately, where this time of year, we don't see whether the red light works now or not because it's only on at night, and we get here a little after sunrise at this time of year.
Mm-hmm. And so what kind of activities, for example, come in and out of that harbor? What commercial activities for recreation? Can you describe some of those activities and how vulnerable are some of these people that when they come and go? And can you give an idea of the number of people that come and go or transit this area?
Oh boy, absolutely. As far as activities go, we've got snorkeling, we've got scuba diving. That's just on the commercial level. We also have people heading out fishing, families heading out fishing. This time of the year we have jet skiers. This time of year we have families going out tubing. We have all kinds of things like that happening here. The people that use the Kihei boat ramp on a commercial level, we're talking all the boats that are out of here as well as passengers. You're looking at between 500 and 600 people a day that come down to the Kihei boat ramp only on a commercial level. When you add that into the fishermen that come out on the weekends and families that come out on the weekends, you're looking at over 1,000 people on a weekend each day that come on down here and utilize our boat ramp.
I raise that point because to show the importance of it, this adds to the economy of Maui. It's one of the key components of the of Maui's economy. People coming and going, that's the attraction. So I can't imagine, bring myself to understanding why they would leave the conditions this way. And we'll put in a call to boating and recreation here with Mr. Ed Underwood or the Suzanne Case, the chairperson. And in the future, we'll do some other shows. But there needs to be some answers to this one, I think. You believe that?
Well, there should be something, Carol. Like Andy said, over 1,000 people. The Kihei boat ramp makes more money for the state than any other boat ramp in Maui County. And it is in the worst repair. Even the small island of Lanai has been improved. And Molokai. And here in the heart, Kihei again takes the back door. And we'd like something done about it.
Mm-hmm. And so you, even just the whale watching season, I would think, brings a number of people out of that harbor, correct?
Hundreds and hundreds of them.
Exactly. That's just it. With this, the Kihei boat ramp, there are commercial boats that leave out of the Kihei boat ramp every single day. These are all trailer boats. We don't have dock facilities here. These boats have to go in and out of the water each and every day. With the disrepair, the parking lot itself, as well as the docks. There's an accident that's going to happen, and when it does, they're going to close us down so they can fix everything, and that's going to affect a lot of jobs.
Now, with all of this happening, have you offered any solutions or maybe rotating boats or to address or to get around the problems that's the closed slips and what have you? What have you offered the state, and have they been receptive?
When we initially had our first meeting, it was basically our way of saying we need to have things done. And Paul didn't show up to that meeting. He sent his secretary down. She was the kindest, sweetest woman that listened to every gripe we had. she took them back to Paul, and then when we had our second meeting, that's when a couple other guys came. The contract was signed. What we offered, the only thing we asked for one thing, that they not shut the boat ramp down. And Paul said it wouldn't be a problem for them to fix one side and then fix the other side. And when I say fix one side and the other side, they weren't only going a little ways down the ramp. They weren't going to the water line. They weren't going to dredge. They were going to fix the paving issue that we're having, because he said that the state, that he didn't have the money. He didn't have the money. We are, if you were to come down here and see us all launch one day, there are quite a few boats that launch each and every day on the Kihei boat ramp. For us to all launch on one dock is going to be a monumental task because of the amount of businesses that we have down here. We have no issue with that. All we want is the boat ramp to be fixed. All we're asking is it not to get shut down while they're fixing it. We can use one dock. We will make it work. The only thing we're asking for is it just got to get shut down. We will do anything we can to help out.
But they're not receptive. It sounds as though they're not receiving you well or are willing to work with you.
They're clear. They don't come down and see what's happening down here. We can yell, we can scream, we can have these meetings. Until they're down here looking at this firsthand, they don't realize the issue that we're having. The last meeting that we had with these gentlemen, they patted themselves on the back about the great improvements to Mala Wharf and the harbor in Mala, and how great it was in the Kahului Harbor. And hey, that's great. I am happy those people have great facilities. I promise you, we have more commercial boats that go to Kihei than Mala and Kahului Harbor combined.
We would just like to know why, over years, 5 years period of time, this has been addressed and it's been pushed to the back burner. They say, yes, we will take care of it. And we wait and wait. We grumble some more. Well, now we put it out to bids. Well, the bids come in, they award the bid, all of a sudden it disappears. No work is being done. We would like to know why this facility isn't maintained. That's our big gripe.
Yeah.
How many torts are there filed? Do you have any idea of the people who've broken axles, broken boats, or equipment from using these roads? Are they?
Unfortunately, no. As far as commercial boats go, you get a lot of commercial companies that when something happens down here, I have personally had to replace props down here from hitting the bottom because the sand is so low. We're not going to file a complaint, because the second you start filing complaints, we're afraid of retribution from the state. So we fix our stuff just fine. Okay. I have my personal Boston whaler. I broke an axle down here. I fixed it on my own dime, because if they can't come on down and fix a pothole, they're not going to pay me for my axle.
Well, like Andy said, even the state
guys, we're coming
broke
down.
their own trailer.
Yeah, sorry, we don't have much more time now, but I want to thank you, Don and Andy, for joining me on ThinkTech Hawaii here in discussing this. And can we have you back again?
Any day you're ready, Carroll. We invite you to come on over to Maui for an in-the-field interview, because we'd love to stray around down here.
Promise you, I'll be over there. And
Carroll,
thank you so much for joining me for ThinkTech. Okay, we're out of time and we'll have to wrap it up. And I'm Carroll Cox. This is Eyes on Hawaii, ThinkTech Live Streaming Network Series. We've been talking with Mr. Don Burns and Andy Swinko, safety and operational concerns at the State Boat Harbor, owned and managed by the State Department of Land and Natural Resources Division of Boating and Recreation on the island of Maui. Thank you, Mr. Burns and Mr. Swinko, joining me today. Thank you to our broadcast engineer, Ray Sangalan, our floor manager, Robert McLean, and to Jay Fidel, our executive producer, who puts it all together. And thanks to you, our viewers and listeners. If you want to get our email and social media program advisors, click the link on thinktechhawaii.com. If you'd like to be a guest, underwriter, or volunteer, or if you want to join us in the studios here at Pioneer Plaza, contact Jay, J-A-Y, at thinktechhawaii.com. If you want the links to our live streams or our previous broadcasts, or on Ustream TV or YouTube, just go to thinktechhawaii.com. Go there in our Facebook page and tell us you like us. We'd love to you like us. And then, of course, I'll see you next Tuesday at 12 noon for more Eyes on Hawaii on ThinkTech Hawaii. I'm Carroll Cox. Aloha.